You know exactly what needs to be done. The email, the workout, the paperwork, the first page, the phone call. But instead of starting, you wait. You check one thing. You clean something unimportant. You tell yourself you will begin when you feel more focused. Then an hour disappears. If that pattern feels familiar, try this. Give the task 5 minutes. Not an hour. Not the whole day. 5 minutes. This is not an ancient rule written by Marcus Aurelius. It is a modern practice built on a very Stoic principle. Stop negotiating with discomfort and begin with what is in your control. In this video, you will learn how the 5-minute rule breaks procrastination, why your mind resists beginning, and how to use a tiny start to rebuild discipline. Comment 5 if you have been waiting too long to begin something important. The hardest part of most tasks is not doing them. It is crossing the distance between thinking and starting. Before you begin, the task feels large. Your mind sees the entire workout, the whole project, every page, every mistake that could happen, every hour it may require. The task becomes a mountain before you have even touched it. So you delay, not because you are lazy, because your mind is trying to avoid discomfort. It wants certainty. It wants energy. It wants the feeling that now is the perfect time. But the perfect time rarely arrives. The Stoics understood that action cannot depend on mood. Marcus Aurelius had responsibilities whether he felt strong or tired, confident or uncertain. His question was not, "Do I feel ready?" It was closer to, "What is mine to do now?" That is the question procrastination tries to avoid. It prefers a larger question. Can I finish this? Can I do it perfectly? Can I keep this up forever? Those questions create pressure. The 5-minute rule replaces them with something smaller. Can I do this for 5 minutes? That answer is usually yes. You may not feel ready to write the whole report, but you can open the document and write for 5 minutes. You may not feel ready for a full workout, but you can move for 5 minutes. You may not feel ready to clean the whole room, but you can clear one surface. You may not feel ready to solve your finances, but you can open the bill and look at the number. 5 minutes lowers the entrance. It does not make the whole task easy. It makes the first step small enough to stop frightening you. That matters because procrastination lives before action. Once action begins, the mind often changes. The task becomes real instead of imagined. The first sentence exists. The shoes are on. The call has started. The drawer is open. Now you are no longer debating a future task. You are inside the task. And inside the task, resistance often weakens. This is why waiting for motivation is backwards. Motivation often arrives after movement. You start. Then the mind becomes interested. You make progress. Then energy rises. You see that the task is possible. Then confidence appears. Action creates evidence. Evidence creates momentum. Momentum creates motivation. Not always, but often enough that beginning matters more than waiting. Here is the first way to use the rule. Choose one task, not 5, not your whole life. One task. Then define what 5 minutes means. Do not say, "I will work on my goals." That is too vague. Say, "For 5 minutes, I will write the opening paragraph. For 5 minutes, I will sort these papers. For 5 minutes, I will walk. For 5 minutes, I will study this page. For 5 minutes, I will make the phone call I keep avoiding." Clarity removes another excuse. The mind cannot hide inside a vague intention when the action is visible. Next, set a timer. A real timer. 5 minutes. The timer matters because it gives discomfort an ending. You are not promising to suffer forever. You are agreeing to remain for a short, defined period. That changes the emotional weight. The mind says, "I do not want to do this." You answer, "You do not have to do it forever. You only have to stay for 5 minutes." This is a small form of voluntary discomfort. The Stoics practiced choosing manageable discomfort so they would not be ruled by it. The point was not pain for its own sake. The point was freedom. If you can begin while uncomfortable, discomfort loses authority. Now here is the important part. When the 5 minutes end, you are allowed to stop. This is not a trick where 5 minutes secretly means 2 hours. If you truly want to stop, stop. That keeps the agreement honest. Otherwise, your mind learns that the timer is a trap. But before you stop, ask one question. Do I want to continue for 5 more minutes? Not until completion. Just 5 more. Sometimes the answer will be no. That is fine. You still kept the promise. You still moved. You still weaken the habit of avoidance. Other times you will continue. 5 minutes becomes 10. 10 becomes 20. The task that felt impossible begins moving because you stopped demanding a heroic beginning. Comment start if the beginning is usually harder than the task itself. There is another reason this works. Procrastination damages self-trust. Every time you say, "I will do it later," and later passes, your mind records the broken promise. After enough repetitions, your own plans stop feeling real. You announce a goal, but part of you no longer believes you. That is why some people create bigger plans when they need smaller promises. They try to recover confidence through intensity. Tomorrow, I will wake up at 5. I will work for 3 hours. I will never waste time again. The promise feels powerful. But if it breaks, self-trust falls further. The 5-minute rule rebuilds trust from the floor. You make a small agreement. Then you keep it. That is evidence. You tell yourself, "At 7 I will do 5 minutes. At 7 you begin. The task may remain unfinished, but your word becomes slightly stronger. Do that repeatedly, and discipline starts returning. Not through a dramatic transformation, through proof. Stoicism cares deeply about character. Character is not what you announce. It is what you repeatedly do. 5 honest minutes can build more character than 2 hours you keep promising but never begin. Now let us talk about a common mistake. Do not use 5 minutes to prepare forever. Some people spend the 5 minutes organizing the desk, choosing music, adjusting the chair, opening tabs, finding the perfect pen, and designing a new system. That is decorated avoidance. The 5 minutes must touch the real task. If the task is writing, write. If the task is exercise, move. If the task is calling, dial. If the task is cleaning, pick something up. Preparation only counts when preparation is truly required. Do not let your mind turn the doorway into another waiting room. Another mistake is choosing a task that is too large and undefined. Fix my life cannot be done for 5 minutes. Open my calendar and schedule one appointment can. Get healthy is too large. Walk outside for 5 minutes is clear. Become disciplined is vague. Begin the hardest task before checking social media is visible. The smaller and clearer the action, the less room there is for negotiation. This is where the Stoic idea of control becomes useful. You do not control whether the project succeeds. You do not control whether the workout changes your body today. You do not control whether the person answers the call well. You do not control whether the first page is good. You control whether you begin. That is enough. Procrastination asks for certainty about the result. Stoicism returns you to the action. The result may be uncertain. The next 5 minutes are available. Use them. The rule also works when emotion is the real barrier. Sometimes you are not avoiding effort. You are avoiding fear. You do not open the email because the answer may disappoint you. You do not begin the application because rejection is possible. You do not look at the bank account because the number may scare you. You do not start the project because your first attempt may be poor. In those moments, 5 minutes becomes an act of courage. Courage does not mean feeling no fear. It means fear does not choose your behavior. You open the email. You read the number. You write the bad first paragraph. You face reality. And reality, even when difficult, is often easier than the imagination that surrounded it. The mind can turn an unopened envelope into disaster. Opening it turns disaster back into information. Information can be handled. Vague fear cannot. Here is a practical sequence for tomorrow. Before checking messages or social media, choose one task you have been avoiding. Make it specific. Set the timer for 5 minutes. Begin immediately. When the timer ends, decide whether to stop or continue for another 5. Then record the result with one simple mark. Not to build a perfect streak. To create evidence that you are becoming someone who begins. Do this for 7 days. One avoided task. 5 minutes each day. The goal is not to finish everything. The goal is to train the crossing. Thinking into action. Intention into movement. Fear into contact. Which task have you been avoiding the longest? Do not name your whole future. Name the next visible action. That is where discipline begins. Now remember what this rule is not. It is not permission to give every important duty only 5 minutes forever. Some responsibilities require deep work. Some goals demand long hours. Some problems need sustained effort. The 5-minute rule is not the whole road. It is the ignition. Once the engine starts, longer work becomes possible. And as the habit grows, you can increase the block. 5 minutes becomes 10. 10 becomes 25. But do not rush. The purpose is not to impress yourself. The purpose is to become reliable. A small practice repeated is stronger than a perfect routine abandoned. That is a deeply Stoic idea. Do what is available. Do it honestly. Repeat it. Let character grow through action. So when procrastination appears tomorrow, do not ask, "How will I finish all of this?" Ask, "Can I give it 5 minutes?" When your mind says, "Later," answer with a timer. When your mind says, "I am not ready," begin unready. When your mind says, "This is too much," touch one piece. When your mind says, "It will not matter," remember that the first purpose is not completion. It is self-trust. For the next 24 hours, choose one task. Give it 5 honest minutes. No scrolling. No organizing around it. No waiting for motivation. Touch the real work. Then decide what comes next. Comment the task you are choosing, or simply comment 5 if you want to keep it private. And remember this: your life is rarely changed by one enormous decision. It is changed by the moments when you stop escaping and begin. 5 minutes may not finish the task, but 5 minutes can break the spell. It can turn fear into movement. It can turn intention into proof. It can remind you that discomfort is not your commander. If this video helped you, subscribe to Stoic Echoes and hit the notification bell so you do not miss the next practical Stoic lesson. Then close this video. Choose the task. Set the timer. And begin before your mind creates another excuse.